What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? You're listening to the Data is My Science podcast, the show that makes data your passion. I am your host, Dapper Data. So we have talked a little bit about this before, okay? But we have an expert on here that's going to dive deeper into this, okay? We're talking about digital marketing, all right? A powerful, powerful thing. If you don't know what digital marketing is, we're going to explain it. We're going to dive a little bit into it. But online retailers out there, right, are investing in digital marketing these days. It's a ridiculous investment, right? I mean, I know Starbucks said they did some crazy stuff like several billions of dollars a year or something like that, or millions of dollars a year just in digital marketing alone. And they're checking things like conversion rates, right? And according to an article out there, I think it was by Digital Commerce 360's February survey. It was a retail survey. More than half of the retailers out there, right? That's 55% said they plan to focus on digital marketing investments in 2023. And so I know it's a heavy, heavy thing. And we're going to ask the special guest on the call today, why is that, right? Why is this a big push for that? Okay. All right. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to David Forman. Say what's up to everybody, David.
Hello. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. Now, so David, right? He is the COO of Clarity Creative Group, and we'll talk a little bit about Clarity. That's a digital marketing agency in Central Florida, and we're going to dive a little bit into Central Florida a little later too. So we'll see his knowledge on Central Florida. But he likes to nerd out over coding and web design on a professional front and sports on a personal front. So he's very enthusiastic about his gift and his passion about web design, coding, digital marketing. So thank you for being on the podcast, David. Please tell him a little about yourself.
Yeah. So my background actually was in business management, but development was always like a passion of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And it really just became a point of playing around with things. It was a hobby, and I worked together with a friend on building a project many years ago, many years ago, and it did really well. And I was like, oh cool, like we could get a site to rank, we could build things, and we could do, have fun with it. And I'm like, I love doing it, we should make this a career type of thing. And so it became kind of a side hustle. And then again, 5, 6, 7 years ago, decided, oh, okay, well, I'm going to make this my career. I took like a little, really went in on like a coding boot camp to just kind of go like, do I really
Nice.
like what I'm doing? And turned out I loved it. I had so much fun. I enjoyed doing the homework, and it only like really gained in my skills, and really just hit the ground running on taking on more clients. We grew our team from me and just my business partner to there's 9 of us, and we really focus on doing web design, web marketing, digital marketing, getting people out there, and being, and this is the place where we really see eye to eye, being data driven in what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
because anybody could just build a website. But if you don't have any data behind what you're doing or what's working, then yeah, you could be throwing $50 million into the ether and watch it disappear.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No, absolutely, man. You're spot on with that, man. I've been I mean, even from social media to websites, right? We talk about conversion rates, you're talking about all those different things. I mean, the data's there, right? You're collecting it to help you make some of those better decisions of whether you want to shift a customer this way or whether you want to make some changes to your website. I'm sure it's probably plenty of time where you need data to show you, okay, this is, and it probably presents that proof in the pudding, right? It's like it presents that whole support behind with your when you're communicating with your clients. Do you see that a lot of times clients are sitting there and they're like, man, the data sort of makes me say, okay, I believe in what you're saying.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, wholeheartedly. I can't tell you how many conversations we've had where it's like at some point we've gotten the client phone call. This is our bad for not updating the client maybe well enough, where he didn't see his report that showed him that he got
Uh-huh.
so many phone calls from a campaign, and he's like, I don't think I really got any. I don't think I got any, but I have a number here. Let's go ahead and look. And then we look at like it went from a feeling to, oh no, it is working, let's keep that going,
Yeah.
and I'll up the budget. I was like, dang it, we should have done this earlier, what are we doing wrong? But it was the data that and people get feelings, but like that's fine. Your feelings could be things are good or things are bad, but like the
Yeah.
data really shows you what's working and what's not. So it's phenomenal. I
Right.
love that's what I love about digital is because you have that,
You can
there that
collect
you
it.
wouldn't have,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the, I
So
don't know if you
did
were on radio or billboards, it's like it reaches this many people that like are there. It's like there's no data there. It's not real data.
right. All right. So did you during COVID, right? Did you see a big boom in digital marketing? Like did that increase?
Huge, huge. There was definitely like I'd say there was like a few weeks in March where a couple clients went on hold or whatever, and a few of them, they're in industries that were just decimated, wedding industry, and we were, happy to say no problem, we're not going to take your site down or anything. When you come back to us when you're ready, we'll do our marketing. But they put stuff on pause. They're like, nobody's having a wedding. Like, what are you going to need wedding
Yeah.
DJ for? So it's like, but so we had probably like a week of fear, right? Where a couple clients just kind of went on pause. Then it was like the floodgates opened. It was the opposite.
Right.
Yeah. We talked to all our clients about it and they were like, yeah, we need to do more. We're ready to do
Yeah.
more. This is the time where we need to get our name out there. And those that, used it as a point to realize that, a lot of the, yeah, you don't have a lot of people driving by businesses as much because everybody's trapped in their house, or that
Right.
people are doing more research or spending more time online. How do you show up more online for them to
Mhm.
find you? That's the sauce. That's
Yeah.
where the really the obviously digital marketing makes an impact. But yeah, for COVID, it was a great, I wouldn't say a boom, but it was definitely where people realized more and more that our services were necessary. That you couldn't network anymore when you couldn't be in
Mhm.
person, so you kind of had to turn to alternatives, and digital was a big alternative.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I completely agree. I mean, I saw so many companies that invested way more dollars in digital marketing when the pandemic happened, right? And it seemed like that it was the aha moment, right, where they
Hmm.
said, you know what, this allows me to scale more. I should have been doing this a long time ago, right? Being online, having that presence online, I can scale out more to the masses, right? You just have certain people going into your store that are local, whatever it is. Now I can just spread out globally, right? Especially the smaller probably retailers, stores, or smaller mom and pop shops, things like that. They say, man, I need a website now. I need to go.
Oh yeah. Well, like a fitness studio maybe locally here in Central Florida, right, was
Mhm.
serving people in person, then realizing, aha, wait, I could just do my workouts in a Zoom or in a way, or I
Yeah.
can now do online coaching. And now I don't just have everybody that's in my, little, area code. Now I have people all over the country. Right. I think
Mhm.
it definitely like flipped a switch somewhere, and
Yeah.
in a good way, that got people to think outside the that I need to have a location and I need to only service those people. So
Right, right. It's like you can remove now you're removing that blocker, right? Because at one point it was a blocker there to say, oh man, when COVID hit, everybody realized, man, we can't even be in person. So now that removes the blocker and you're still able to make your sales. So, I definitely think that, despite the negative portions of COVID, right? A lot of people build businesses, increase their businesses through digital marketing, through website development, things like that. So, hey, look, I want to talk a little bit about Clarity Creative Group, right? Let's dive into that, right? Because you're doing exactly what we're talking about right now, and SEO is crucial. Yeah, I was just talking to you about SEO a little earlier and stuff.
mhm.
I didn't know that difference, right, between the local and global SEO and all that stuff. And we had somebody on the call before. This was like about a year or some change ago, and they talked about local SEO. Right, they were only focused on local SEO, right? And I wanted to be more global, I guess. And I wanted to handle maybe both, but it's crucial, period, right? Where however you handle it, because it makes your website more visible. It means more traffic, more opportunities to convert those prospects into customers, right? So, what are you guys doing at Clarity Creative Group? To and what's your vision going forward for the consumers?
Yeah, yeah. So SEO as a whole, right? And going back even into like our COVID conversation just before, right? To even take that along a little further, is the local side was important, right? And that is
Mm,
great, right? In terms of like having people find you. But if you're a local only mom and pop or whatever, you might be
mhm,
now restricted. But maybe you can service outside of the area. And in the algorithm or whatever you would say, there's technically different ways to look at like how you show up, right? So when you search for something, right? So if you're
mm,
searching for, um, we'll just say web developers, right? I'm going to be biased. You're searching for a
mhm,
web developer and you type that in, there's probably going to be a map pack that shows up. That's the local SEO. Then
mhm,
underneath that are your regular search results. At that
mhm,
point, anybody can show up in that listing. Now, it sometimes
mhm,
does favor some locale. It will use some of your search history, and what you search and what I search in two different places or two different search histories will look different and be
mhm,
unique. But we're not probably talking like complete changes. We're talking a couple different ones that might be like, oh, this one might make sense more for you over for me. But
mhm,
overall, when you're trying to focus on ranking in those, Google really favors content, quality content that
mm,
it gets, understands, and there's, I mean, there's a lot that can go into it, but it could be, writing really, really, informative things, following a couple little steps in terms of having, proper page structure. Google really
mhm,
likes like when you, it's like, um, setting Google up for success, right? Like if you're
mhm,
giving them, what's known as H1, which is the heading title, right? If you put
mhm,
actually what keyword you want to rank there, it's not oh, if I put, Orlando web design, I'm definitely going to rank for that. Doesn't always work that way, right? That's what used to work like 30 years ago, and then put it 25 more times on the page. That doesn't necessarily work, but it's going to help Google understand, this page is about that. This page is about, marketing your business or whatever it might be, and then using the rest of the page, right? Do you have good engaging images? Are they unique images, or did you get them from a stock photography site? It's not bad to
mhm.
have a stock photos, but what on your site is unique that Google goes, this isn't like all the other websites out there.
Ah,
And that's how you have to stand out, because right now we are in a world of lots of competition. So we're trying to create unique, great content that hopefully appeases Google to trust our sites, what we do, how we do things. So writing great content, and then I would say one real important thing is linking, internal and external. Internal linking, because assume Google is going to crawl one page on your website. From there,
mhm,
it needs to make its way right around. If you don't have any links in your content, you're at that point telling Google to start at the top, go to the bottom, and go nowhere, right? But
yeah,
if you're linking internally throughout, right? Maybe you're talking about web design, you're talking about how much we love WordPress here at our agency, and we're going to have a link over to why we love WordPress or the benefits of WordPress. Well, if you're going to talk about the benefits of WordPress and you have a blog about it, link it up,
yeah,
internally. Get, and then if you're maybe going to talk about why, I don't know, it's like 55% of all websites on the internet uses WordPress. Well, don't just say that. Link up externally the other places that
mm,
mention it too, to help build support in terms of supporting what you're saying. So that way, it's like Google fact checking, right? It's going to
mhm.
see 55%, that's going to go to a page which tells it exactly that. I don't think it necessarily goes back and like checks it, but it's like, okay, cool. You're not just telling people to live in this like walled ecosystem of your website. So it's little things like that that just it adds up a lot in terms of how Google experiences your site and knows what's going on.
No, that's interesting. I never thought about the whole linking thing, right? I guess people like the average person or the consumer, the customer would probably think, well, linking is just taking you away from my page. I don't want to put it there, right? That's probably the complaint they would have, right?
Correct. Heard that
Yeah.
50 times. Yeah, yeah. But when you think of it, that what you're trying to do is just show the connection points, right? When you're
Mhm.
interlinking things, you're now telling the story properly so Google can understand, this is a web development company. They do WordPress. I
Mm,
understand what they do now. And because again, if you just put up 5-page website, you have a lot more, a tougher time to rank because there's a lot more information out there. Unfortunately, when before we used to be able to get away with that, it was nice, it was easy. We got to do a little bit more. It's it's not a ton of work, but it's definitely like
Mm-hmm.
sharing your expertise, because that's what Google wants to see.
Right, right, right. All right. So if you could choose your favorite SEO tool, right? What would it be?
Okay. All right. So internally within the team, I think we use software called Ahrefs.
Okay.
It is for keyword research. But what's really cool about it is it tells you um, it tells you what your competitors rank for. It tells you what you rank for. It tells you how many times somebody searches for certain keywords. That is
Mm-hmm.
really, really cool, just because uh, you talk about data. It's so data driven, and it's the greatest thing for us to be able to show our clients and what we do and how we do things, to either show if things are going great or if things are not going up, maybe how many keywords they rank for, or like I said, what their competitors are doing. Well, you can go in, see what keywords
Mm-hmm.
they rank for, and go, okay, why don't we rank for that? What do we need to do on our website to do that? Or what are they going after that we're not going after? So you have like that kind of vision. It's a couple bucks, definitely not the
Mm-hmm.
cheapest softwares that I use, but there's a couple of them out there that are similar. There's SEMrush, there's Moz, and they're good, but I feel like Ahrefs seems to have probably the best data and the most easiest to use interface.
Mm-hmm.
We use it for keyword research to know what to go after. It's just a lot of like data, but also too, like, you and me could go on and search for web design, and your results are different from mine. So how do we figure out what actually is like a good, like, clean view of search results before like
Mm-hmm.
your personalization gets put in there? And a lot of times you can get that using a tool like this versus trying to, oh, I'm Googling, you're Googling, we're both seeing different things. Why?
Yeah.
So it kind of puts an impartial view in there. So it's cool like that. Now that, I would say, is our biggest one. I love Google Search Console. But the problem
Okay.
is, and that is where you can actually, if you have a website, you could hook it up, and it's pretty much what you share with Google to have them crawl your website, but they provide you data back, right? So they tell you
Mm-hmm.
what keywords you rank for, what pages are ranking, and some of your impressions and clicks that you get from that. Now the only problem
Oh,
is
nice.
it's Google's filtered data, so sometimes you don't get everything. And
Mm-hmm.
on top of it, you obviously can't see your competitors. But
All
if
right.
you want, like for our clients, I like to use that because a lot of times that's obviously stuff that we have access to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool that way, and just kind of research and kind of see things going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice because free. So it's
Yeah,
also nice too.
yeah. Yeah, I thought you were going to say something like Google Analytics or something like that, initially. I mean, how do you feel about that? Is that
Well, we're going through it like well, you've heard about the Universal Analytics going over to GA4 and all that. Have
yeah,
you talked
GA4 and
about that?
everything. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I heard about it a few months ago, actually. Several
yeah, I
months
have
ago.
a
Yeah.
love-hate relationship right now with analytics. I
Uh-huh.
I love what the new platform, what GA4 is going to do. Like, it makes
Hmm.
sense, but I feel like we're getting, dare I say, kind of like move on, just move on, get over the fact that you're not going to have any historical data and just move on.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of it's too bad. I get it. We can't have both because it use different data models and all that stuff. So and I'm I'm past the point of like kind of caring about like that like the changes happening. For us, we
Right.
have everybody set up on GA4, but
Hmm.
I know it's going to be like, hey, I remember last year I had 1,000 people and now it only says I have 600. Why? And it's like, okay, it's a new data model. Oh, what does that mean? Oh, one used events. This
Oh
one
man.
used users. Now this one uses events, and it's different
Yeah.
because one had their phone and their laptop, and that counted as two users, but now it's one user. Oh, I didn't know that. So like, it's good that that's tracked now as one user or one person, but we didn't have that before, and so it's now just confusing for the clients.
Hmm.
It's confusing for the small business, unfortunately.
Yeah. It seemed like it'll be more of a you just have to educate the clients on it a lot
Mhm.
more, right? Prior, all right. So I wanted to get a little bit into the AI, right, and digital marketing space, but it's something that just made me think about this, right? I started thinking about natural language processing, all that stuff, and I'm like, look, this is a huge space where like Chat GPT, is playing in, right? In this space,
Mhm.
right? I mean, do you see that something like that is on the verge of kind of taking over roles such as your role that you're doing right now?
Okay.
This is like a whole nother podcast.
Yeah. Well, yes and no, right? So
Uh,
there's two parts to the whole like AI side of things, right?
mhm.
So AI is a great assistant. It's not obviously a replacement.
Right.
And more importantly, I I absolutely love it, right? I went down an AI rabbit hole actually like a year ago. So
Mhm,
that was way before ChatGPT. And I feel what was out there was like mediocre at best. And like it really leveled up in December and everything when
mhm.
ChatGPT and really opened up the abilities to do a lot. I know there was tools out there, but like you'd have to pay like $30, $50 if you wanted like a
Right.
well-written, article that was done using an AI tool. Now you can do it for, I mean, free.
Yeah.
So, but uh, the problem with AI and what we do is AI does not have expertise. AI is a regurgitation of information. And
Mhm.
while that's good, it doesn't think for itself. And it should never think for itself. It's not supposed to think for itself. I mean, when it does, maybe, we all
I
have
mean,
something to worry about.
Elon Musk said that he put that petition out, right? Elon Musk was trying to stop AI development for
But
like 6 months.
he did so, but then he just came out and said that he wanted to work on his own AI project. So I
I
think
know.
I think there was a little bit of ulterior motive there. That he was like, we need to stop them so I can do my own thing because he
Yeah,
has his own. He
yeah.
wanted to. I think he wants to put AI into Twitter or something like that. I was
Yeah, he
like,
does.
I'm so confused, man. What do you want? No, and I think that like I mean I think we are years and years off from it like actually like, and I know you can teach it things, right? But everything that you
Mhm.
teach it has to be something that either exists on the internet or something that you know. And if you
Right.
know it and you could teach it, yeah, it'll put out something that's going to be better than me just typing in, hey, can you tell me about how to look at um, data and how to parse data or something like that,
Mhm.
or how to use SQL commands, right? But if you're just looking at what it's giving you, you're not going to be able to do anything with that. And if you have expertise on how to do it better, you can layer that on top of what's written there to make that content or everything that you put out there unique. If not,
Mhm.
what you're putting out there to me is not going to rank because at this point what's pulling from anyway is from what's all over the internet, so it's not new, right? And I think
Right.
for years people have been kind of putting up, dare I say, mediocre content,
Mhm.
um, because it's easier, because nobody wants to write 1,000 words, 1,500 words, um,
Right.
and AI just makes that easier. But I don't think that means that you're going to rank for it. So I feel like I
Mhm.
have to be the bearer of good news and bad news. We did some testing, and while it's interesting, there was we have a kind of a temporary site that we use for a lot of like throw some stuff out, and we threw a bunch of AI content up there, and we
Mhm.
immediately saw it get picked up, and then immediately it just went down. And
Ah.
so we have a feeling that at some point, like Google kind of figures out, oh, this is cool, new content. Oh, this isn't really like new content. It's like
Right.
it doesn't see the value in it. Now, like I said, does it help with ideas? Does it help me if I don't, maybe like I'm deep into what I do? I don't know what the best FAQs are for even what I do because I'm so deep into it. And I could
Mhm.
ask the question and get the FAQs back. Then from there, you answer those FAQs yourself. Don't let the AI do it for you because
Yeah.
that's not unique. And that's huge though. That's huge to get that content. I think we got to run with that. But I think if you think that content that it gave you on its response, I think that's so generic, unfortunately. But I love it. I think it's great. I think it makes all our lives easier.
Mhm.
And we should use it because I do see opportunities. One thing that I am hopeful for, and I've seen a few samplings of it in the data world is being able to take in like a PDF or some other like document which shows like maybe a Data Studio or Looker Studio or whatever that shows like,
Mhm.
data, and to help me like get some information from this, right? Tell me what's
Mhm.
working, tell me what's not. And there was tools, I'd probably say like 5, 6, 7 years ago that like it would like check your analytics and say like, oh, your bounce
Mhm.
rate is low this
Oh,
month. You're
right,
doing
right.
great. And it was like, that's so kitschy. And it was cool. Like but it had like a little natural language thing where it would tell you like, this was a good month for you. This page got extra
Uh-huh.
views. But like you could actually like probably program the AI to understand what you're trying to get out of this. Hey, I need conversions. I need to know what's working. Help me out. Look at this data and tell me, where people are dropping off, what's going well, what's not going well, where's our,
Mhm.
best things happening, and hopefully get maybe a natural language response that allows
Yeah.
maybe a client that's not a marketer, to understand that. Now, what they could do with that would be the $1 million question, right? They, if, just because it tells you like your bounce rate's up, or I don't know, that doesn't really matter much. Your conversion
Right.
rate's down. That doesn't really tell much, right? They still probably need an expert to figure out what that means. So,
Yeah, yeah. Especially for your own business or company, right? Like what adjustments you need to make based off of that specific rate that you got or that feedback. And I agree. I mean, I love AI. I love the way it's going, right? I'm all for the future stuff. I'm like, don't stop it, right? Even because, right now, I think the reason why he was trying to stop AI was because of ethical stuff, right?
mhm.
But I'm like, look, man, there's no way you're going to be able to stop everybody from doing it, right? You may stop one group, but the other group is going to say, "Look, I don't give a crap. I'm I'm building this stuff, right?"
Right. I mean, at this point, like if you put it out there, right, and I get that there'll be some trademark and copyrights, and
Mhm.
there was somebody from Samsung uploaded slides from their deck and put it into Chat GPT, and I guess it educated the algorithm enough that you could regurgitate what were on those slides out if you weren't even like
Mhm.
in their profile, which isn't good, right? There's probably a big like, hold on a second, don't use any don't put proprietary things into Chat GPT, because just know
Right.
that you're training it with that, and anybody can get anything out of that. So that's like
Yep.
probably like rule number one, which is, it's like the same thing. It's like, don't put your password in there and be like, make this more secure. It'd be like, that's a
Right.
terrible
Right.
idea. Why would you do that? But like, we're in the learning phase right now. However, again, I do think that like nobody questions like that Google can crawl your website and
Mhm.
share information, and they have, if you put it on the internet, right, people, you can't be surprised that like anybody can see that, get that, share that. So,
Exactly.
it's just a new way to get that data, right? It's just through that versus a search engine.
Yeah, and something you brought up that was, I'm doing my doctorate in data science right now. Should be done by the end of the year. And
Nice.
one thing that you brought up that I don't know why I didn't think about this about authenticity, right? It's important, right, when you're coming up with your own views and theories about things, right? You're basically researching, you're researching everything that's happened before, right? Just like
Hmm.
machine learning, you're looking at the history of stuff, but now you're coming up with your own opinion about things, throughout the process when you're doing your dissertation. And uh and and that cannot be the case if you're sitting there using that regurgitated information like that's in ChatGPT, right? And all that stuff, like you said, you get the FAQ, but then you write, like you write your own stuff, right? That
Hmm.
continues to give uniqueness to the body of knowledge that's out there. All right. Is that what you were
Yeah,
hinting at?
exactly, exactly. It's the again, you could use the thing that ChatGPT does, but it's
Mhm.
not going to move any needles, and it's
Mm.
not going to probably answer your client's actual questions the way you'd want to answer them, right? Because
Mhm.
that's not for you, or that's not for, like, for us. We do it for our clients, right? Where we have to take their voice and how they do things, right? Our content writers have to be, uh they have to be a lawyer, they have to be a veterinarian, they have to be, a chiropractor, when they're none of those. But how do we take their voice? ChatGPT never has their voice in the first place anyway. So
Right,
it's
right.
using all of the voices, which isn't great.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, look, David, thank you for being on the podcast. Usually I end with what I call a dope nugget or gem, right? And today what I've learned is if you really think about artificial intelligence, right, it is all about using those large amounts of data that's out there, right? Especially from the digital marketing phase, and where we're looking at conversion rates and we're looking at website building and things like that, SEO and all that stuff. And one thing that I learned too was that it's not about like the flooding, right, of all the information, and well, it is about the content, like you mentioned, but not bringing everybody to all just one site and just keep flooding them with information on that site. But the linking is important too, right? External, internal linking. I definitely need to get that involved in my website. So I probably have to ping you. Wait, do you handle already created websites as
Hmm.
well, or
Oh
does it
yeah.
have to be new? Okay.
No, doesn't have
Uh,
to be new.
Okay, 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 cool. And and I like what we just talked about at the end, right? Contributing to the body of knowledge is out there, right? Building your own uniqueness out there is important. Just because the information is there and you're searching it on ChatGPT or wherever you're searching that's cool and everything. But when you're feeding information back out to the world, definitely try to use your own uniqueness because that's how everything is going to get better, right? So, is there anything that you want to leave the audience with?
No, it's just exactly that, right? The more and more we can create authority based on our expertise, that's what Google's looking for. That's what's
Mhm.
going to separate you from me, from everybody else. It's
Mhm.
just that, and allows us to stay above AI as it tries to take over all our lives.
That's a good point. Yeah. All right. So game time, right? Game time. Okay.
I'm ready. I'm
So
ready.
yeah,
I'm
I
excited.
like to play a game at the end. The audience knows it's called overrated, underrated. I ask you a series of topics, just throw them out there. You get to decide whether you think it's overrated, underrated, or right where it needs to be.
I'm
Are
excited.
you ready?
I'm ready. I'm excited.
Okay. Hardcover books.
Oh, underrated. Underrated.
Ah.
I love having a Kindle, but there's just something about, being able to open the book and flip through the pages and it
Uh-huh.
doesn't get bent. It's underrated.
It's something for me. It's like it's underrated. But sometimes I feel like they're just taking up space, right? It's like, do I actually read the book, right? I get all these cool books, and sometimes, like, I just listen to the Audible book because I drive a lot, all the kids running
Sure.
around and all that crap. And so the Audible book is more valuable to me. But you can't have like an Audible book on learning Python coding, right? You know.
No. Well, but and I have like Kindles, right? And I have audiobooks, but like I can't go back and reference them or look something up. That's not
Ah,
easy at
good
all.
point.
So it's like, man, I'm missing out. The other day there was something I needed to look up. I was like, I think that was from an audiobook. I'm in
Yeah.
trouble. I'll never hear that again.
I know, right? You almost have to bookmark it right then and there or something like, or you have to say, all right, 30 minutes and some seconds of this chapter or whatever, take the notes. So you're right. All right, next one. Television.
Oh, I think it's overrated.
Uh-huh.
Um, I mean, I love it for live sporting events,
Mhm.
but overall, I feel like I don't know. It sucks me in. It's bad.
Uh-huh. All right. Yeah, I would say the same thing. For some reason, it captures my attention at nighttime when I'm trying to do like I guess brainless activities or
Mhm.
thoughtless activities. So I can hear it in the background while I'm doing something that is more like technical, right? If I got to read an article or something, I can't pay attention to it and concentrate and take the notes. But more recently, and maybe I just blame it on the missus, man. She's probably hurting me, man. Getting me to binge watch all these shows, and I just get hooked, man.
There's so many, and they keep
It's so
coming.
many, just keep coming. And it's like you think you're done with one, and you can go to the one that you already stopped before, and then
Mhm.
another one comes out that's more interesting and it's new or it's green. So you're like, oh man, maybe I'll add that to my list.
Right, and then I need another streaming service to have it because
Yeah.
there's a new plus of some channel I've never heard of before, but they have a show I wanna see. Yeah.
Right, right. All right, avocados.
Okay. You know what? They're overrated. I like them, but I feel like I went went to a sushi place the other day. I felt like
Uh-huh.
everything in the sushi had avocado, and I was
Yeah,
like,
man. What is up with that?
they're going too strong. There's other things out there. I feel like people go really hard into it, and we can calm down a little bit.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
good. I love it. I love it. It's good. I can't like there's other vegetables I could have a little more on frequency.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's like, what is this whole fascinating thing about, infatuation about avocados, right? I
Oh
just,
yeah.
I just don't understand it. I mean, I would eat them sometimes, right, to have that fatty portion, in my meals, right, from doing some meal prepping or something like
Hmm.
that. And I hate it because I'm like, oh, I gotta add salt and pepper to it or something because it's just not, just regular avocados are not flavorful to me, right, at all, right? It
Right.
just plain. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Right, exactly. It's not like at least like you can cut up some peppers or like
Right.
a cucumber or throw some tomatoes and you just pop them in your mouth. Or like broccoli, you could just cut that up and eat it. No,
Right.
avocados, you gotta like prep it and do stuff to it. Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that.
All right. Devil's Den Spring. Have
Devil's
you been
Dance.
there?
No,
Okay, so that's in Central Florida. I was trying to see if you've been to any certain spots. All right, what about this one? Rainbow River?
I don't know what that is. Maybe I don't
Is
get
this
out
a,
enough.
I know, man. What's going on here, man? That was a Google search, man. Or I should have probably used ChatGPT or something. Man. They might get better information. What about Fort Island Beach?
Fort Island Beach? No, I've never
Fort
been to any
Island?
of these places.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. What about Mickey Mouse, man? How you feel about Mickey Mouse?
Oh my goodness. I'll be honest with you, it's Disney's not a client of ours. No, they're overrated. Um, you know, s it's a really cool place,
Mm,
and it's a lot of fun, but when you live next door to it, it gets boring real quick. Not that you go there, but just that it becomes your everything in Central Florida because it's like, what drives so much of the economy and stuff like that, but overall, I unfortunately, I think it's overrated. I also can't stand crowds, and it is just, like,
uh,
always busy. It's nuts how busy it is. You'll go to Disney or Disney Springs where it's like the free shopping area. It's like, okay, it's,
mm,
Tuesday in the middle of the week on a February or whatever. And there's thousands and thousands of people. Like, where are all these people coming from? People don't have jobs.
yeah. I can
So,
only imagine it's probably very annoying living around something like that because it's just constant people, like you said, it's just constant. The attraction is there, so they're always touring around, and you just get nothing but you probably could go down the street and you see like a little kid with Mickey Mouse ears on or something like that. It's just
oh
like
yeah. But when you live on that side of town, there's a road that you don't cross because you're going to
uh,
be in tourist town, and like
uh,
there's a highway or whatever that separates, and that's about it. It's not like it's not a bad part of town, it's just the tourist part of town, and you just don't want to get there because you'll probably just be stuck in traffic.
and the traffic is crazy.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
man. All right, two more. Pizza.
Pizza. You know what? There's so many different types. It's underrated. There's just not enough of it. I love it.
Uh-huh.
It's great. You could put whatever toppings on it. I think I could eat it 7 days out of the week. So I'm
Oh
gonna go with
man.
it's pretty
Does it have to be a
underrated.
certain type, like deep dish, Chicago
Oh,
versus
everything.
New York?
Well, but that's the thing about it is like I'm from New York, so I love a good New York style crust or whatever. And
Uh,
like I'd search for a good one. You can't get a good one in Florida,
mm,
unfortunately. But I try to find the best of the best. But like that's the thing is like you could get a deep dish pizza or a Detroit style pizza, and it's like
mm.
that's like its own. It's a pizza, but it's not a pizza. So it's like feel it's underrated just because of that.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. I love some pizza, man, and the kids love it too. So I'm like,
Mhm.
all with it. Let's do
Oh,
it.
it's easy. It's easy, it delivers well. Come on, like,
Right,
especially during
right.
COVID, I mean, I had some really bad delivery foods,
Uh,
like, like chicken sandwiches,
yeah.
bad delivery,
Oh
kind of
man,
soggy
yeah.
fries, worst thing you can deliver. But pizza, always good for delivery.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. All right, last one. Holidays.
Um, mm, I would say I would say they're underrated, because there's not enough of them,
Mhm.
because they're good excuses to hang out with friends and family, and I love it, and I wish there was
Uh-huh.
more of that, because it's sometimes like the only time that you ever get to see some people, and I wish that
Yeah.
there was more of them. So for that, they're underrated. However, I feel like growing up, I overhyped like holidays and special events like that. So for that, I was gonna say overrated, but I was like, no, no, no. I like what they've become. So
Yeah, no, I'm all about the family, man, the bonding times, things like that. It's unfortunate that, those are the times that we only come together sometimes, right? But,
yeah.
it is what it is. When it happens, man, it's all a joyous occasion. I love it, man,
So that's why we
so
need more of these. Like we should just
yeah.
create one randomly in the middle of
Yeah.
April, so that way we can see more friends and family.
Right, right, man. Create your own holiday, man. Call it the
Why
David
not?
Forman holiday.
Why not? I love it. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, David, I really appreciate you being on the podcast audience. This is you're listening to Data's My Sign podcast, show that makes data a passion. I'm your host, Dapper Data, and thank you all for joining. It's been a pleasure, David. You have shed so much light on a lot of different things related to SEO, related to digital marketing, and I definitely hope to have you on here again sometime. Where can they reach you at? And are you promoting anything right now?
Yeah, yeah. Right now, you can find me at iwantclarity.com. And the only thing right now we are really promoting is my business partner loves to do website click-throughs and give his opinion, good, bad. He loves to use Ahrefs and share some data with people. So if you go to iwantclarity.com and scroll, I think like 3 little scrolls down or whatever, we have a little thing on there of, do you know what your site ranks for? And he'll kind of do a little like tear down, good, bad, indifferent stuff that you can do. Not stuff that we
Mhm,
can do. We can do it, but like that you could do either yourself or your other web people that you might have, that can kind of give you some feedback on what's working, what's not, what you rank for, what you don't. Maybe you have that data, maybe you don't, and you're looking
mhm.
for it. We're happy to give it. So yeah, if anybody has any free time, use the forum. We'd love to do them. They're free or whatever. You get a quick little 5-minute video.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna check that out, man. So thanks for that, David.
Good, good, good.
No, thank you. Yeah, yeah. So audience, you can reach me at Mr. Dapper Data on any one of the social media platform. Definitely check out my YouTube videos and subscribe to that as well. And until next time, peace.